What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. You can find me on the Twitter at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on the Twitter at SportsOpinion30. And now Sports Opinions has a Facebook page. So all you got to do is you got to go over to Facebook, type in Sports Opinions Podcast, and you'll see the logo pop up. Click on it, follow it, like it. All the episodes are uploaded there. Any blog posts that happen to come up on Sports Opinions, mostly written by K-Doc, not by me because I just don't have the time anymore. But they will show up there as well, so more great spots to follow. If you're listening to this, as always, thank you. You're listening to either Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or YouTube. Spread the word. Let people know. We're on plenty of different outlets, so this can be out there and we can maybe get this going a little. With me today is a familiar person. I reference him, it seems like all the time in the podcast. He's one of my good buddies. He is a major sports fan. Unfortunately, two of the teams that he likes are just miserable human beings in general. But we will talk about them. His name is Colton Gesser. What up, buddy?
What's up, Alex? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, my man. Now, where can people find you on these social media outlets?
They can find me on Twitter at @TheRealCWagon, and they can find me on Instagram on at @CWagon.
A lot of C-Wagon going on. And just Zuckerberg, that is not fake news. Colton is real. Whoever the hell owns Twitter, it's not fake. He's real. So don't kick him off it because, you know, censorship is a big thing right now going on. And Colton, I feel like one of these days, with the shit I say, this show's going to get censored at some point. What do you think?
You know, gotta get people talking. So if we can get people talking about this show, it'd be a good thing. So
without a doubt. And yeah, and just to harken back, last week I was live. 2 weeks ago I had TJ Kidd on. It was great. I went after Peyton Manning really quick with TJ Kidd, which was kind of ridiculous of me. And 3 weeks ago I had Phil Watson on. I keep on coming on with these great guests. I have reoccurring guests like Colton coming back, which is awesome. So we are building, we are growing. The brand is going to get there at some point. But we're going to move on right now. We're going to do what we came to do, and we are going to talk about some damn sports. And one of the teams that Colton likes, I tend to, you know, they are what they are. They're one of the staples of the NBA, one of the biggest franchises on the planet, one of the richest franchises on the planet. Have had some of the greatest players of all time on it, and right now has arguably the greatest player, if not the second greatest player, that migrated over to them from free agency. They are the LA Lakers, and I'm just going to slam it down because you wanted, when LeBron came over to Lakers, you wanted to rant, and then when Boogie went over to Golden State Warriors, you were even pissed. I'm going to give you the floor for a little bit, Colton. Give me a little rant and rave on your view of the NBA currently right now.
Little rant, I like that. But I was very excited about the LeBron pickup. I was on my way home from a concert and they picked him up. My girlfriend was very upset with me because she had a migraine going when I started going nuts in the car. But the Lakers definitely needed that. Figure they missed out on a lot of free agents. Paul George clearly this year before that, which was crazy about getting LeBron, because when Paul George re-signed with OKC, that stunned LA, man, because they said don't trade for him because he's going to come. Clearly didn't come, and they got LeBron. Now, man, that's the greatest player, as you said, one of the greatest or the second greatest player of all time.
I just want to jump in real quick, Colt, because I listen to sports talk radio all the time. It's something I aspire to be, so I tend to listen to a lot of the greats or guys that are currently on to kind of try and be like them. One of the guys, Colin Cowherd, I know his rap isn't the most amazing, but I like The Herd. The Herd's on Fox Sports 1. I listen to the podcast at work all the time. One of the things he said, and I think Stephen A. Smith even reiterated this on ESPN radio, that towards the free agency happened and Paul George was the guy, right? All we heard was Paul George Lakers. And then LeBron flirted with coming to LA, and he really put that out there. And then Kawhi made the statement, I want to be a Laker. And from all reports, the Lakers kind of went cold on Paul George. Now, do you believe that they saw that there were bigger fish out there and kind of put Paul George on the back burner and took him for granted?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I think what happened is he fell in love with OKC a little bit. I don't know if it's playing with Westbrook or it's just the money, because he was going to lose like $40 or $60 million.
And the
if
taxes.
he signed with the Lakers.
And the taxes are real in California.
Yes, so I think that might have been why, because at first there was talks that he's coming to LA after he opted out. Then after that, I settled down a little bit, a week or two. And then rumors started coming out that he was going to re-sign with the Thunder.
You never settle down, Colt. Colt, you don't settle down ever, though. You're always hyped.
I am. I got to hype it up because, figure the Lakers have been getting snubbed on free agents for quite some time now. When they brought in LaMarcus Aldridge, they butchered that with Mitch Kupchak trying to sign him. They had nothing to say to him pretty much and messed that up. They had DeMar DeRozan. They messed that up. So the Lakers have been striking out on free agents and figured they just landed the biggest fish that was out there. So.
Now, does how this Paul George thing go down, does that kind of scare you for Kawhi? Because they're kind of taking the same approach. It doesn't seem like Pop wants to trade Kawhi to the Lakers. Kawhi has made it known that the Clippers are okay. He just wants to be in Los Angeles. So does it kind of scare you that he may trade Kawhi to the Clippers and then Kawhi just might become satisfied and not come over to the Lakers? Because that really happened with Chris Paul, where Chris Paul was going to be a Laker. The league stonewalled it.
The league says no, but the league, sorry to cut you off, let's DeMarcus Cousins sign in Golden State, though, but they wouldn't let the Lakers get Chris Paul, so all right.
It happened, but Chris Paul, he wanted to be a Laker, and then he went to the Clips, and they started to build around him, and he seemed to get complacent. Is there any fear in your mind that Popovich is a spiteful bastard, and instead of sending him to the Lakers, him and R.C. Buford send him to the Clippers, and he finds a home there, and he just gets complacent and now becomes a rival? Do you have any sort of fear of that right now?
Well, there was rumors that he didn't want to be the second fiddle to LeBron. So, I wouldn't be shocked if he does go to the Clippers now, so... But that was also, some rumors. But then now the Lakers rumors are back up. So clearly that must not be true about him not wanting to be a second fiddle to LeBron. So
I don't get, I understand wanting to be the alpha male. And Kawhi, Dapo Samoy, a friend in our group, downplays Kawhi. He knocks him. But people forget how good Kawhi is. I think Kawhi is arguably the third best player in the league. There's LeBron, then there's Durant, then there's everybody else. And Kawhi might be the leader of that group.
When he's healthy, without a doubt, that one of the best two-way players, him and Clay, best two-way players, and he can get to the rim, he can shoot the three ball. Now Kawhi is very dangerous when he's healthy. Again, when he's healthy and when he wants to play for you, because clearly he's not wanting to play for the Spurs right now.
And he's one of the best defenders in the game, and that's really a difficult thing to be when defense is kind of outlawed. You can't hand check, you can't touch anyone on their way to the rim. If you fart under the rim, it's a technical. You can't do shit. It's really not great.
You're right. Well, no offense, that's the way the sports are going now. Same thing with football, too. You can't touch people, so defensively. Yeah, they're all going to soccer, where if you touch someone, Neymar just rolls around the field for a half an hour. Yeah, so I don't watch soccer. No offense to Matt and Dato, all those guys. Hey, we're starting to see football players do it a lot more. When Tom Brady gets on a roll and does the no-huddle, when Peyton Manning did the no-huddle, there were guys going down and faking cramps in order to stop them. The Giants did it. Exactly. So it's something that it's not like it's foreign. It is coming to football, and it is already there in football. There are dudes that fake injuries to stop a really good no-huddle offense all the time. Yeah. So it's something that's going on. Now, I'm just going to lay this out there to you, Colt. Is Showtime back? Are we seeing another version of the Showtime Lakers coming to the Lakers with LeBron? Is he going to bring enough people that we're going to get Showtime again? Well, I remember how you were talking about Kawhi getting nervous. Next year's class is very good. The Lakers played it smart with all these one-year contracts from McGee, KCP, Rondo, and Lance Stevenson. So they're being smart, so they're leaving their free agency window open. The young core, it's so crazy to think Brandon Ingram is going into his third year, and he's 20 years of age. Crazy, right? That's what's crazy. Him and Lonzo were 20. Kuzma's 22, and Josh Hart is 23 as the old man on that the young core there. Now, if you're looking at it, say Kawhi gets cold feet, stays in San Antonio, or goes to L.A. on the Clippers, and he's out of the conversation. Obviously, I don't think LeBron wants Kyrie back because Kyrie dipped out on him. The rest of the litter of free agents, Durant is probably scaring Golden State because I don't think Durant's going to stay. He's kind of making hints that he's going to go his own way now that he's got his 2 chips, his finals MVPs. I think he might leave Golden State. And then you got Jimmy Butler, who's not happy at all, making it known that he's not happy. Well, he just turned down an extension today. I don't know if you saw that. 5-year, $110 million. Yes, sir. He turned that down today. So Klay Thompson's also a free agent. But
I'm telling you right now, you're looking forward to Klay Thompson being in a Lakers uniform. His dad has connections there. You know, his dad is big in the Lakers organization. He was a Laker. Klay Thompson is in a Lakers uniform next year. I already have that done. That's locked. So there's two superstars.
Yeah, we'll see, though, because the Warriors love him, man. That's one of their draft picks. There's no way they're going to let him fly without
I think they will, because I think they're going to throw a max contract at Durant. Klay is going to make it known that he wants to explore, and Draymond's going to say, I want to stay for a max. They are going to sign Durant and Draymond to maxes, and Klay is going to be the odd man out.
Well, they're going to be dumb if they leave Klay out, man. Klay's better than Draymond in a heartbeat.
I agree.
But Draymond did say he wants the money. He wants the money. He doesn't care where he ends up.
Well, and so, yeah, there's definitely guys like that. Well, you got to think, if you're Golden State, you got your championships, so you're not hunting for championships anymore. A dude like Draymond, he's a champion. He has done it in the finals. He's done it all season. He's proven that he is a glue guy in this NBA. He's expanded his range. He's a pretty good three-point shooter, so he can be an all-around player for another team. So I don't think these guys fear going off on their own anymore. They did what they had to do. They got their chips young, and now they can play. So my question to you right now, with this current team that the Lakers have, with James and all this young talent, do they have enough to challenge or beat the Rockets or Warriors as they currently stand?
They built the team very interesting around LeBron this year with the free agent pickups. Not what you're used to seeing around LeBron James. You're used to seeing a lot of shooting, a lot of three-point shooting. Like Brian Windhorst said when they first were signing guys, he was just baffled, baffled and stuff.
Brian Windhorst is the happiest dude on the planet. He left Cleveland to go to L.A. Like, who is happier than him? He goes, all right, Miami was awesome. Screw Cleveland. Oh, shit, I'm in L.A. now. Like, who's got it better than that man?
Nah, not many people. But it's going to be interesting because supposedly LeBron was calling some guys. Like, when he called Rondo and Stevenson to come play with him and stuff, he loves their, skill set. They're very competitive, very good defensively. So it's going to be interesting because you're going to see the ball out of LeBron's hands. I mean, clearly LeBron's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, but there was no point guard in Cleveland to have the ball. So LeBron had to be the point guard every time he had the ball to run the offense through him. Or now you got Lonzo Ball and Rondo. Rondo's very good. You saw him in the postseason how good he was. So. And
without a doubt, and you know what? You look back, and last year's team and probably 2 years ago were the first few teams that weren't one of the top teams in defense for LeBron. LeBron's teams are usually one of the top defensive teams. You look back at those Heat teams, I think it was them, the Bulls, and the Celtics were the three best teams every year in defense. So LeBron is known for defensive teams. And you get the three guys that he brought on with McGee, Stevenson, and Rondo. They're all defensive dogs.
So is KCP. KCP is another good two-way player. So
KCP's a 3-and-D guy, and he needs to get better at the three part. So
yes, sir. I don't disagree. He also needs to stop getting arrested, too. That's another one.
Yeah, that would help, right? But, right now...
They have the chance. They can... I mean, you saw with the Rockets. The Rockets could beat Golden State. And if Chris Paul doesn't go down, they do win that series. I don't care what anybody says, Golden State-wise. If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt,
now
the Rockets win.
You guys are in the running for one Carmelo Anthony. All the rumors right now are going towards him going to Houston. But if you had the choice, would you want Melo on this current team?
No, I do not. I mean, the three-point shooting, clearly, they need it where he'd be interesting, but no, they don't need that with the young core because you want ball movement. Luke Walton wants the ball moving a little bit where Melo's ISO. He doesn't. That's why, I mean, you saw his role go down in OKC. He's not built for some of these teams, like these teams that want to get it moving, the ball moving. He's an ISO guy. You saw how he was with the Knicks. Saw how he was with OKC. So I think God's fitting is going to Houston. So Houston must get him. Houston has to get him.
Now, why? But either of those two teams are ball-moving teams. And Chris Paul's going to be ball-dominant, and he's going to demand the ball moves because that's his style offense. And then you have LeBron.
Harden's the same way.
And exactly. So, but don't you think – I know him – but him and CP are closer. That is a fact. They are better friends than LeBron and Carmelo. So that might be in more of Houston's favor in terms of getting him to play ball.
Well, I I think they need him bad. They're literally going to go on their knees crying for Carmelo once he's released from OKC, because if you look, they've lost. They also lost Lukamba Mute, and they lost Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, but
so
Trevor Ariza's like 37. Ariza's a very good
Trevor
defender.
Ariza's very good, though. You got to figure very good defensively. He's got a championship already. He won with Kobe. He's got that championship mentality.
Yeah, but
and
Colton,
well.
Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony isn't going 0 for 9 in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. He is gonna knock down some of those threes, and he's gonna help you win there. His defense might not be as good, but that's why you just hide him you hide him as a power forward sometimes, which he does do. So, I think the trade-off with Ariza to Melo is in Houston's favor, because Melo's a much better scorer than Trevor Ariza.
I don't disagree. Like I said, they just need it. They need another forward. If you've seen the teams that have won it, they're very forward dominated, and that's how the league's going, it looks like. But they need Melo. Houston needs to get him bad. I don't want to see him in the Lakers uniform, but if he ends up having a great season for the Lakers, clearly I'm going to love it. So Magic Johnson knows what he's doing. So.
He does. So we're going to slide off the Lakers for a second, because you did mention Boogie Cousins. I mentioned him. Here, I'm going to give you my take on Boogie, and then you can give me yours and what you think of what I'm saying. Everyone saying that Boogie Cousins has broken the league either doesn't read headlines besides just what they just saw, or just don't know shit about basketball right now. The dude is coming off an Achilles surgery, a torn Achilles. You being a Lakers fan saw what this does to dudes firsthand. Kobe was not Kobe after he came back from that Achilles injury. He didn't have the bounce. He couldn't, really dunk. He relied on his jumper way too much because he didn't have the explosion. And that happens to Achilles. An Achilles injury is severe. Boogie Cousins relies on his bounce as a big man to get by other big men and even guards, because his handles are very good. This is the Boogie Cousins we see is not going to be the Boogie Cousins that we know. I think that Boogie Cousins is pretty much dead after this injury. We'll see flashes, but I don't think we get that 25, 12, 15 guy that we saw. That's my take. So I think the Warriors grabbing him. Number one, I don't think he got a good offer from 29 other teams. That's the report. Every other team didn't want him. Anthony Davis came out and said that he didn't want to re-sign him because he wasn't good for their locker room. So what choice did he have? He didn't have much of a choice. Golden State pounced on a guy that could be good, and I think he's going to fall in line because he's trying to get a nice contract for next year. That's my take on Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it? Everyone was like, he broke the NBA. He didn't break anything. He's barely going to play him. When he comes in, he's going to hobble still. That's how I think.
We'll figure he's not going to be back till December, late December, January is what they're saying. It's also an Achilles injury, as you said, so he may not be the same guy. The Lakers were going to be interested in him, but then supposedly they weren't. They were scared about the Achilles, so they
and LeBron doesn't want him. LeBron doesn't want him. LeBron doesn't want a guy who's not going to fall in line.
Well, he's not good in the locker room. He's always been the pain in the rear end in the locker room. You saw him in Sacramento, New Orleans, the same thing. So he's just not a good locker room guy. So I don't know how it's going to work out there in Golden State. I mean, they also have a very loose locker room. Clearly, Steve Kerr really just can't really say anything because he's got his stars there, so he really can't do much about it. So we'll see.
Well, he's going to have to fall in line because he's not the best player there. Where you can argue that him and Anthony Davis were... Anthony Davis is better, but in terms of talent, they were pretty damn close because Boogie's unbelievably talented. When he walks in that Golden State locker room, he has two guys that are better shooters than him right off the bat. Durant's an overall better player. And then you have Draymond, who's more of a dog than he is. So you have the four alphas on that team are legitimate alphas. And then you have a dude like Iggy, who's a veteran that's not going to take his shit. Sean Livingston sets the tone. He's not going to take his shit. So you have a lot of guys there. I don't think people realize that. Warriors are my second favorite team. They have been since the Jason Richardson era. Don't at me. Don't tell me I'm a bandwagon fan. But the Warriors are built. Everyone looks at the stars. But they have a veteran core there that keeps everyone grounded. And you look at that second unit, it's filled with very good veterans that hold down the fort and still score and still play great D.
Well, that's why Golden State's scary, because they always have a bench. They've always had a bench because these guys are looking for championships at this point in their career. So they're signing, cheaper contracts. Some of these guys have made money already. These guys already got, they're made a decent amount of money. So they're just taking a little bit of a pay cut, and they're playing for a very good team. So we've seen it with Golden State.
Without a doubt.
Changed.
People forget, I don't think many people, they know it, but they don't realize Golden State is in Oakland. It's in California. It's a major state. It is a major, it's not the market that LA is, but Oakland's not a small market in basketball. They are a big money team. They're in a big state. So it's not surprising that they will have the success. Now we're going to flip back to the Lakers because we're going to talk about a guy also who has a rocky history. We mentioned Rajon Rondo. He's been a coach killer. He's given up on teams. What makes you think that Rondo's going to buy into this team and do what? He had a great run at the end of the year with the Pelicans in the playoffs. He's now a Laker. What makes you think that he's going to fall in line and listen to Luke Walton, who I think, wasn't Rondo one of the dudes that said he can't play for a white coach? Wasn't that him? One of the guys, like him and Boogie or whatever, and they got George, what was his name? George Karl fired?
George Karl from Sacramento?
Yeah. Wasn't that part of them and they said that? Come on.
I think George Karl was gone before Rondo got there. He might have been. You might be right on that. I don't recall that. But I'm pretty sure Cousins is the one that got Karl fired because Sacramento had to cater to Cousins because he was not a good locker room piece, and that was their superstar, so they had to keep him happy or try to.
Which is sad because George Karl is a great coach. He's a Hall of Famer.
He is a very good coach. Yes, he is. He's a very good coach.
So,
it's going to be interesting to see how Rondo is because Rondo is going to be the backup point guard. If Lonzo's healthy and he looks good, Rondo's going to be the backup point guard.
You really think so?
I think so. I don't think they sit with Lonzo. I don't think so, no. I think
Lonzo's going to suffer if LeVar doesn't shut up. Because Rondo...
I don't disagree. It's a shame, man. It's a shame, man. The kid doesn't talk at all. He plays basketball. The media hammers him. I'm a Lonzo supporter, so it's going to sound biased. But the kid doesn't talk at all. He's never talked.
But wait, hold on. Did you just say the media hammers him? ESPN blows him. ESPN blows him. Literally gets on their knees and blows him. And that is the biggest major media outlet on the planet in sports.
A lot of people hate him because of LeVar, because of his pops.
And they hate him because he can't shoot. And because he can't shoot. Let's not get it twisted. There's basketball guys that say he's going to be good but not great because he can't shoot.
Yeah, but you can't say that because last year when he went on his 10-game stretch before he got hurt and then the season just went down for him, when he went on that road out here, put up 26 on the Knicks, shot extremely well at the Garden,
I could put up 26 on the Knicks last year.
No, shooting-wise, Alex, shooting-wise. I know you don't like Lonzo. I know you do. Last time I was on this, we had this talk.
I don't dislike Lonzo. I think he will be a starter in the NBA, but I just don't think he's a star or the star material everyone makes him out to be. That's just been my stance. And so I got to ask you this. If Rondo comes in, Lonzo right now, it was reported that he's having arthroscopic surgery on his knee, and there were rumors that his camp floated out the knee injury, so they couldn't trade him. But he's going to have this surgery, so he's not going to be there early. But when he comes back, Rondo's going to beat his ass in practice. He's going to be the Patrick Beverley when he got in his face and did all that.
That's going to be good for Lonzo. I'm telling you. He's going to be in there.
But if Lonzo backs down and doesn't man up, will that just ruin his career? Will he just be labeled a pussy his whole career and that be the end of him?
I don't think the Lakers are going to let him. I don't think Magic's going to let him get bullied and take it, and not step up. Because everybody was talking about his size last year. He looks small. If you looked at him now and you pictures of him now, the boys are hitting the gym. He's been in the gym working. He's benching. He looks big. He's putting on that weight for the NBA. So that's good. He's putting in the work. It's not like he's sitting at home just messing around, he's not doing anything, not taking this seriously. He's in the gym, busting his rear end, so... And what is he, 20
now, too? So he's still becoming a man. Yeah, he's still becoming a man. I give him that.
Yeah, he's a pup still, man. That's what people understand. And it's the jump shot, he showed sparks of it last year, so Cliff, he busts his tail in the gym, and now he's got the guy that is known for being in the gym at the crack of dawn, and LeBron James, who... when he first came back to Cleveland, he sent out a group text to all the guys. This is also from Brian Windhurst, because he did it in Miami too. He sent the group text to every single person on the team. They went somewhere on vacation. All of them were up at the crack of dawn in the gym and just balled out at night and stuff. So, I mean, LeBron's going to get this kid. He's going to get the pups in the gym. That's what's going to be interesting about the Lakers.
You know what's interesting, though? Because I did hear they are already a gym rat team. Kyle Kuzma's in the gym. Brandon Ingram's in the gym.
No,
even
Lonzo.
Hart is in the gym. And Mo Wagner, I hear, is falling in line right now in Summer League. That they are, LeBron is happy to be there. But I think it was reported last year they had to tell Ingram and Kuzma specifically to slow down because they were going to burn themselves out.
Ingram's always in the gym. It's quiet, though.
He's a quiet kid. Then how the hell is Ingram not bigger? What is he doing?
I don't know, man. He was trying to eat. Like they were saying, I think they were talking about it in the Summer League game the other night. He's like eating like so many calories, man. The numbers was crazy. So he's trying to put that weight on, but it's gonna be interesting, man. The Lakers are gonna be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the finals, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they lost in the second round or anything. It's pups. You're going to see how they're going to get their feet wet this year in the postseason.
Now, here's a big question for you right now. Lonzo's obviously not going to – I don't know if he's going to be ready for the season. But
they said Luke Walton and them say he's going to be ready for actually Rob Pelinka, not Luke Walton. Rob Pelinka, the GM, says he's going to be ready for the start of the season. So
he doesn't count. It's Magic. Let's be realistic.
Hey, Rob Pelinka was pulling some strings this summer, so
yeah, because he was a former agent, so he does have a lot of strings to pull.
Yes, he does.
You guys, the Los Angeles Lakers need to change their name from the Lakers to Los Angeles Clutch, because I think every single guy's a Clutch client. It's crazy. And that also played in because Paul George isn't a Clutch guy. I think it's CS. There's another big firm like CSM or CFM, and he stayed with that group because a lot of Clutch guys went there. KCP is a Clutch client.
Yes, he is.
The behind the scenes with the agencies, people need to look at that too because that works in a lot of teams' favors, and you'll see a lot of teams that join up because agents want to get other guys with their dudes. It's a weird thing going on in the NBA, but underneath the scenes that there's going to be a great 30 for 30 about one day. So I have to ask you a question. When Lonzo's going to be ready then, when you see Lonzo and Rondo on the floor together, are you going to cringe knowing that there's only 3 guys that can shoot on the floor? A jumper?
Yeah, I don't see them being on the floor very rarely. They're not going to be on the floor together often because they're pretty much the same player. Lonzo's going to shoot the 3 a little bit better. Not a lot much better, but...
I mean, Rondo shot the 3 well last year in the playoffs.
He did. He did shoot it well in the playoffs. He is getting the jumper down a little bit, so
now,
the Lakers made some interesting pieces.
I hate to burst your bubble. Even if Lonzo's ready, Rondo is the better point guard right now. Right now, at this point in their career, he's still the better point guard. He finishes at the...
I don't disagree.
If you guys...
Clearly, if you watch the playoffs last season, you can't hide that Rondo is not a very good point guard still.
If you want to make a run at any of these teams, Lonzo needs to come off the bench. And that's just a fact.
We'll see, man. You're going to see this season. You're going to see. We're all going to see. I think Lonzo's starting. Rondo said he doesn't mind coming off the bench because he's going to have to lead that second unit. And the second unit still isn't garbage. So they start some kids that can ball. Figure Kuzma's probably coming off the bench. Hart's coming off the bench now.
So what is your starting lineup going to be? You think it's Lonzo? Who else?
Lonzo.
James, obviously.
Yeah, LeBron, Ingram. I wouldn't be shocked if KCP. And McGee at the 5. I was very upset they lost Lopez.
Now I think KCP should probably come off the bench for Kuzma. I think Kuzma's a better player.
Yeah.
With the league the way it is right now, you can have a very small 4. And Kuzma's got a body to him.
He does.
So this goes right into my next question. You know my 2 favorite players on your team. Now that Lopez is gone officially, that was my favorite player because I'm still a Brook Lopez guy. My 2 favorite players on your team are Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma. I think Kyle Kuzma is the best young player on your team.
I don't know about that. I think it's going to be Ingram. I think Ingram's going to have a big season this year. He's just very underrated, I think. He had a very good season last year, 16 points. So did Kuzma. Kuzma also had 16 a game last year, both of them.
But Kuzma has more of an NBA-ready body than Brandon Ingram, and Kuzma's more of an NBA-ready guy.
Also, also got to figure Kuzma's 2 years older than Ingram, which is crazy.
It is, and that's the maturity there. But I think he's also a better shooter. I think Kuzma's a better pure shooter than Ingram. Ingram's awkward as hell.
You're right. I don't disagree about that. So we're going to see how Ingram is. You know, how we were just talking about how he's a gym rat. So he's gotten better every year. So he's been a big factor in the offense since Luke Walton's got here. So because he runs the offense through him. So we'll see. You know, like I said, he's improved every year. So we're going to see how if he's got a more consistent jumper this season. Because he's got that clutch team. He showed it a little bit. I was at the Sixers game last year when he hit him with that three. Man, I pretty much at the buzzer canned that three for the Lakers for the win in Philly. So
quick credit to Luke Walton, because everyone really questioned the dude whether or not he could actually coach, because they said he had it ready-made over in Golden State. He's proven that he can coach. He took a lot of young guys. He had a few tough seasons because the Lakers weren't ready to win games. And, he's made these guys have improved. So kudos to him and his staff. Now,
yes. So I know we kind of touched on it before. I think the Nets or the Knicks are going to have a good offseason next year. I know you're a big Nets guy. I know we haven't talked about the Nets yet, but I think Brooklyn or the Knicks are going to have a very big summer next year with Kyrie and Jimmy. I think they're going to team up in either Brooklyn or the Knicks.
Now, it brought me to that question. Do you like, now, I looked at last year, I feel like the Nets and the Lakers were in a very similar place last year where they were both young. You guys had better young talent. That's not a secret. Your guys, like our best guys with LeVert, Dinwiddie, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, that was our, Jarrett Allen, that was our very good young core. You guys were Kuzma.
Don't forget D'Angelo, man. Can't forget D-Russ.
Oh, D-Russ, but D-Russ was hurt, so I didn't really throw him in there because of his injury. But
I hear you.
You guys have Lonzo, you have Kuzma, you have Ingram, you have Hart, so you have a very nice. I thought your young core was a little bit better than our young core, but we were in similar places. Young teams, gritty, would be in most games, lose most of their games, but they showed fight. You guys being in LA, having Magic, had a little more allure, so you landed the big fish this year. We didn't have the cap space nor the picks or anything to trade away to get the big fish, but Sean Marks has quietly re-signed Joe Harris, which a lot of teams wanted. Picked up Ed Davis from Portland, which if you look at the reactions from dudes like Damian Lillard, and they were pissed that Ed Davis left.
Just eats the glass.
Eats the glass, and he's getting better every year. And the Nets, last night, in the middle of the night, Sean Marks made more miracles. He dumped Jeremy Lin's salary, which, thank you, Jeremy Lin. While you played, you were good. You were injured, but that $12.5 million is now gone. It's over in Atlanta. K-Doc, you got to deal with Lin and his hair now, and his fans. The Lin stands are real, and they're terrible, but Jeremy Lin's a good guy. And with that, we got back a second-round pick from that, which is gathering picks. And then he turns around and he trades Isaiah Whitehead to the Denver Nuggets for the Kenneth Faried terrible contract, but also Darrell Arthur, who is a decent backup player, who is a stretch 4, which the Nets need a stretch 4. We're hurting there. And a protected first-round pick for next year, protected 1 through 12. And Denver's expected to be a playoff team, so that's as good as the Nets pick there. And another second-rounder in the future. Do you like what Sean Marks is doing, how he made enough space for 2 max deals next year, and is making really smart moves, bringing on a lot of one-year deals, and right now it's reported that the Nets are going to keep Kenneth Faried instead of buying him out. So do you like what Sean Marks is doing, and do you think the Nets will be relevant as soon as after this year? We're going to be pretty bad, but next year, do you think we're in the hunt for a superstar?
Like I said, supposedly Kyrie and Jimmy Butler are talking about teaming up in the East because, look at the West. Why the heck would you want to go out West right now? So I can see them teaming up and figure Kyrie's a local kid. So I think Brooklyn's putting themselves in a good spot. You got to hope they have a good season here, show some fight, see if they can get anything productive done. Because like you said, they were in a lot of games last year. They play tough. They're very hard-nosed team. They're not going to lay over and we're garbage. Get kicked in. They fight, man. Brooklyn's going in the right direction after the awful trade with Boston. Good God.
And you know what? And I have to defend that because it was no one, not a single human being on the planet said that trade was bad when it happened. No one.
Oh, of course not, because everybody thought it was the team to beat LeBron.
Exactly. And so it's easy to say in retrospect that it was terrible, but it wasn't. And you have to think, and Billy King gets a lot of shit, and he made a bad trade. Okay,
Alex,
but listen,
Alex, you got to also figure how old the guys were. KG was old. Paul Pierce was old. These guys are all old you were getting. Jason Terry was like 30, 35, 36.
They also didn't miss the playoffs for 3 years straight. They didn't miss the playoffs for 3 years straight, though. They made the playoffs. And if D. Will was the guy he was supposed to be, that is a team that challenges in the East.
Yeah, but you got to – okay, they took the playoffs, but you gave up the kitchen sink to win championship. You guys would make the conference finals.
But
so
also
that's why that trade was bad.
But look at what was happening. Prokhorov. This is all on Prokhorov. Billy King got the shit, and Billy King got fired. But Prokhorov was the one that came down and said, if you don't make a big splash, get us headlines, and put us in the contention, you're fired. This dude had no choice but to make a move. It was his livelihood.
I don't disagree because the owner is a shot boy.
Well, he's not bad now. Listen, when it failed, he said, it failed, I'm backing off. And he has. And he sold a majority stake. He's still a minority owner. He sold a majority stake to an Asian billionaire. And they're both hands off, and they are letting Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson do their thing. Which is the right way to do it.
Sean Marks is a great GM. So, I mean, they got the guy, came from the Spurs, correct?
He came from the Spurs, R.C. Buford, and he's becoming Danny Ainge-like, where you don't do deals with him because he doesn't lose. He has not lost a trade that he's ever done.
Nah, they're going in the right direction. That's what I'm saying. They're going to
I'm excited for the future.
The Knicks is going to be, they're going to make that splash next year.
The Knicks have very good leadership now, too. But between
Fizdale is a great head coach.
They have Fizdale. They have Steve Mills, who's a very good basketball guy. They have Scott Perry, who's another very good basketball guy. They have very good basketball people. Fizdale's a good coach. They're going to be bad this year. That's not a secret. They have two good rookies in Knox and Mitchell Robinson, but they're not going to be world beaters. Knox can be a very good player, but 30 wins is maybe the ceiling for the Knicks right now in my eyes. But they're going in the right direction, like you said. And I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams, the Knicks and the Nets, figure out a way to split Kyrie and Jimmy Butler up and take a piece of one of them each. It could happen.
I don't know. We'll see. We're going to see. Someone's making a splash out there. It's New York's going to be back. Someone's going to get it done. So the Nets or the Knicks, someone's getting it done.
Can you imagine if the Lakers and even the Nets and Knicks are all three relevant teams? How good that will be for the NBA, especially the Lakers and the Knicks. Like, I'm a Nets fan, but it's no secret. No secret. If the Lakers and the Knicks are good, the NBA is good.
If the Knicks are good, the NBA is good.
Yeah.
It's good for the league. So I don't disagree with 100% on that one.
And the league is going to make sure that the Knicks get good. Let's not be quiet about this, because the Celtics will still be good. The Knicks will be good. The Lakers will be good. And will there be a better time in the NBA than when the three biggest franchises in the NBA are good? No, there won't be. And that's just a fact. So it's a lot going on. We touched on basketball. We talked a lot about basketball, which is great because we had good stuff there. But we're going to move on to a team that we agree upon, the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees are playing tough. They're still sitting 2 games back behind the Red Sox. Will they catch the Sox, or will they be stuck playing in the vaunted one-game playoff where literally a great pitcher can knock them down?
I don't know, man. Their pitching is very shaky. The Yankees are actually losing as we speak. 4-0 right now, so I don't know, man. They need a pitcher. They need a starting pitcher. Their bullpen is solid. Tommy Kahl's got to get back in there, but their bullpen's solid. I don't think they need any more arms in the bullpen. I mean, clearly, the more that you can get, the better. Great, but they need pitching. It's starting pitching.
Now, what would you give up? What would you be willing? Who are the prospects you'd be willing to give up to get this starting pitcher?
Well, there's not many good ones out there. There's not many good starting pitchers that are on the market right now.
Yeah, J.A. Happ has been terrible lately. He's been linked. I don't want Cole Hamels.
He's not good. I'm not giving up the whole farm for Happ.
I don't want Cole Hamels. I don't want Cole Hamels.
No.
Bumgarner hasn't shown any indications that he's available. They haven't made him. The Mets, There was actually a rumor I saw that possibly Zach Wheeler could be a Yankee instead of DeGrom, which I'm not a fan of. He's a 4th guy. We don't need another fourth starter.
Exactly. They don't need another. They need an ace, man. If I'm giving up anybody in the system, it has to be like a top-tier starter. And no offense, they should save the cap space. I love Machado. I'm a big-time Manny Machado guy. It's bad because he's an Oriole, but I'm a huge Manny Machado guy. Playing third base my whole life. I love him. He was great. I mean, clearly he's playing shortstop now. I love Machado. I do. Harper's good. Don't spend the money on him. You got the young pieces there. You're probably going to let Gardner walk in the outfield this coming season. Unless you can sign him cheap, I'd love to keep Gardner around. They got Frazier back there. I mean, unless you dump Stanton's contract somewhere, then you get Harper. That's like, I'm good with that.
Well, Colt, we got to come to terms. Frazier's as good as gone. Frazier's gone. He's going to be in a trade, probably with Justice Sheffield. We're coming to terms. I'm coming to terms that those two guys are going to be gone because their names are involved in literally every single big trade.
I don't disagree because if they do trade, not Torres, Frazier is going to be gone. But that's what they got to understand. Like, they have the pieces in the outfield. They don't need to get Harper unless they get rid of Stanton. If they go to Stanton, then I'm all in get Harper because he's going to love that portion right.
Well, with Machado leaving, Machado potentially coming, that means Andujar's gone. That they can't keep Andujar and have Machado.
No, that's also a good point. But also, you got to make sure you can re-sign Machado.
He won't leave.
If you're gonna trade for him,
he won't leave. He won't leave. He wants to be a Yankee. He's made that known.
Yeah, you see him liking pictures on Instagram.
Yeah,
of him in a Yankee uniform.
Yeah,
but, I love Machado. As I've said, I love him. I think he's top 3 player in the league. He's a stud. I love Machado. Great in the field. His bat is fantastic. He's having one of his best years this year. And but they need pitching, man. That is what their issue is. The bats are fine. Andujar is young, so he's only going to get better. Torres at second when he's healthy. Like, they have the pieces, man. They don't need any fielding players. They need starting pitching. You got Sevy. He's going to be there. You got CC who's going to be there in the postseason. Tanaka, he's been there in the big games.
Now, Tanaka in the postseason has shown that he's lights out.
Yes, yep.
So there are your 3 starters, CC, Tanaka, and Severino. You only need 3. And if we can get Severino to pitch twice, that could be a win each time. So to me, it's weird because if you're Brian Cashman and you're looking at this, if CC comes to play, he's going to give you 5 strong. He always does, without a doubt. You're probably going to get 6 out of him in the playoffs. Tanaka's shown to be very good in the playoffs. In his first outing, he gave up 3 runs, but he wasn't awful. And Severino's a Cy Young candidate. So if you really look at it, you have your 3 guys. Sonny Gray probably won't be on the postseason roster to get better bullpen guys coming in. Domingo Germán's young. He'll get in the bullpen. Loaiza will get in the bullpen. It's really like, if I'm Brian Cashman and I can get more bats and a guy like Machado who's not strikeout heavy, the Yankees are a very strikeout heavy team. Machado isn't strikeout heavy. He's a very solid contact hitter. If you can get him and then stroll in with the starting pitching you have, I might roll that dice if I'm Cashman.
I love him, so I mean, I would not be upset about it. So I love Machado, but I just don't think it's necessary to get him. That's what's I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is, man. They do need the pitching starting-wise.
Now, Sanchez is apparently ready to start rehab anytime by Sunday. Torres is cleared to start running. Any concern with both of these guys' injuries heading into the second half? Well, technically the second half. It's not the second half, but technically the second half of the year.
Sanchez. I'm not really worried too much about Gleyber. I'm more concerned about Sanchez. The power numbers are there before the injury, but he's struggled hitting.
Which is weird because everyone touts him as the best batter on the team.
Yeah, it's the batting average. It's not there. Which is good. At least he's gotten the power numbers there, but he's just not hitting the ball the same. It stinks. So hopefully he can get something like halfway decent going when he comes back from the injury. Because they're going to need it in the second half.
Again, putting yourself in Brian Cashman's shoes, with Sanchez's struggles, would getting Machado give Boone the ability to drop Sanchez down further in the lineup so he's not doing the damage, being the cleanup, being the fifth guy?
Oh, without a doubt, he would drop with Machado. Oh, yes, without a doubt, he's going to drop because you got Stanton. Oh, just picture that lineup. That is so crazy. Just imagine the lineup with Sanchez in there, Judge, Stanton, Manny Machado, Didi Gregorius,
Torres, Andujar,
yes,
even Gardy.
Oh my gosh, like that lineup is just crazy. It's not even funny. It's not fair.
But the issue with that team is they are strikeout heavy, especially Sanchez, Stanton, and Judge, and that does hurt them in the postseason and we saw it yesterday. I was at the Mets game yesterday, so I was only able to look up at the scores, and at one point in the fourth, no outs, bases loaded, they were up 4-3, and I was like, oh, cool. They should at least get one more run. I look up again, it's the bottom of the fourth with still only 4-3. They didn't drive a single runner in, and that is insane to me.
Well, yeah, it was, I think it was a strikeout, I want to say by Romine, I think, is how that, started off. I think it was a strikeout by Romine, and then a hard hit line drive, I think, from Bird.
Neil Walker did something.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Neil Walker, yes. Neil Walker hit a line drive to first, and it was a double play. I was in my truck going to John's when that happened.
But that's the
I
thing.
said the same thing. I said the same thing as they're going to get a run at least here, and they didn't.
And that can't happen in the postseason against really good teams. And they were playing a really good team in Cleveland, and were lucky to get out of that with the win.
Well, that was also because their bullpen is awful. So it was either keep a tired Kluber in or put in their garbage. They're the worst bullpen in baseball.
And they were hitting Kluber. So they were in trouble because they were hitting Kluber. And I have to say, I got to give the Mets credit yesterday. They lost to the Nationals, but they were hitting Max Scherzer. And it showed they only got 4 or 5 hits, I think it was. But if you were watching that game, there were a lot of really, really loud outs where they were just hitting the tar out of the ball. And it was, there were 2 hits that were fractions of not being home runs. Joey Bats almost hit his second home run. He hit a dead center. If it was to left or right, it was out of there by 20 feet. And then I think it was Cabrera hit another bomb that could have been out but barely missed. So Scherzer wasn't perfect yesterday, and the Mets hit him well. So it's like you look at that, and the pitcher's duel that was supposed to be in the Yankees didn't happen between Sevy and Kluber. Scherzer was showing signs of weakness. So it's like any given day, anything can happen, which is crazy that the Yankees need to catch the Sox at the wild card. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, man, they're hot too. So Boston's very hot. I mean, did you see that at bat yesterday with my Mookie bets? Oh my goodness.
I'm not hyping up Mookie because then Rob's gonna listen to us and be like, Mookie boy, I told you.
Speaking of Neil Walker, RBI double for the Yankees, 4-1 as they're trailing in the 5th.
Now, is that his first RBI in like 7 years?
It's been quite a while. He got one like 2 nights ago, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
But he doesn't hit home runs. The dude has no power.
Yeah.
How are you Larry Walker's son and you have no power?
He's been a disappointment. I don't know why they don't just get rid of him and, what's it called? I guess it's because of the first base, but they keep sending down Drury over him. It's crazy,
but I think it's the Headley effect. I think Cashman loves him. Cashman loves Headley, so we kept him forever. Cashman really likes Neil Walker, so he keeps him forever.
I also think it's the first base. I think that's the only reason why is the flexibility with first base with Bird.
But Wade can play every position. Bring Wade up.
Tyler Wade can't hit. He can't hit.
But he hits as good as Neil Walker, and he's younger and he's faster.
Yeah, he made Boone look good yesterday with Boone put him in there, and I think the 9th or the 8th for defense. He made a nice play behind second. So he did make Boone look good on that end yesterday.
He's a very good defender, so he has that. And how are you – here's the thing. With these young kids, we then start judging them by their hitting. How is he supposed to get any sort of a rhythm when he's constantly being just called up, brought back? He's seeing AAA pitchers. Then he comes into bigs. Like, we can't judge Wade by what we see in his little short stints. So that's how, that's my thing. What is your prediction? You think the Yankees overtake the Sox, or are they stuck in a one-game playoff?
It's all going to come down to, what is it, September when they have, September or August, they have, 6 games at Boston. That's where it's going to happen.
They have 6 games at Boston. I think they have 4 extra games because I think Boston's played something like 4 extra games. So we can either bite the Yankees in the ass because some of these doubleheaders, they're going to have to sweep some of them, or it's going to really help them.
Alex, it's simple. Beat the scrub teams, Alex. They should be walking over these garbage teams, and they're not doing it. They're splitting series with Baltimore. You got to be kidding me.
But Baltimore is a division rival with good batters that
doesn't
just
matter,
aren't hitting.
Alex. It doesn't matter, Alex. The Red Sox are beating these teams.
They are. The Red Sox are feeding on the scrubs.
Teams.
They're feeding on the scrubs.
Well, that's what the Yankees should be doing. It's not hard. It kind of reminds me, again, with the Steelers play down to their opponents. They play down to the garbage teams, and that's what the Yankees are doing. When you see Baltimore, you see licking your chops and I'm putting up 20 runs. I don't care. Especially when you're chasing Boston. It's not like you're up 10 games.
That's true. Now, that's a great transition over to your Steelers because we're going to talk about that awful team from that awful city and that awful franchise. But
you're funny. Yankees also scored another one on a wild pitch.
Awesome.
4-2 in the 5th. So.
But the Steelers, it's not going to be your same old Steelers. It's not going to be just the Ravens and everyone else that they have to compete against. I think that division, I've been saying this on the podcast for a little bit. Cleveland is going to be a decent team. They're not going to be bad at all. Tyrod Taylor's
5 or 6 wins this season.
I'm saying 8. I am saying 8, and I say
because Cincinnati's not good, so they could get 2 wins off of Cincinnati.
And I think they're going to steal one from Pittsburgh. I think they're going to be a legitimate division rival. I really do.
It'd be good again for the NFL because that was a good rivalry. The main rivalry was Steelers and the Browns. Now it's called Steelers and the Ravens and Cincinnati because that's so dirty, that game, man.
Yeah, and the Ravens are just a tough team, but people forget that Cleveland, even a bad Cleveland team in division is tough. They hit the shit out of each other. It's still AFC North football. AFC North is one of the best divisions as far as football-wise, watching games. Clearly, talent-wise, it's the NFC South right now, without a question. But even when the NFC North is bad, it's still brutal football. They still play old-school football because not a single one of those teams like each other.
No, they all hate each other, which is great. It's great seeing that.
So we're going to go, and I just want to ask you flat out. You got Big Ben every year saying he might retire. That's got to weigh on the locker room.
I think this year changed. This year changed when they brought in Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State.
It did.
That changed.
It might make it easier for him to retire. It really might. Honestly, it might have the reverse effect.
Well, he's got to understand, he got all hostile when they first drafted him because he goes, I think we could have drafted something better in the 3rd round. Ben, you got to understand, Landry Jones is not the next starting quarterback for the next 10 years. Landry Jones is out the door sooner or later. Rudolph has a good preseason here.
I like Mason Rudolph. I think he's a fantastic player. He's a cannon.
Me too. I gassed him and Josh Allen up this whole leading up to the draft. I gassed them both up. I thought Rudolph was a great quarterback with the arm was, and so was Allen. I thought Allen, his arm was out the door. That is a cannon on that kid.
Yeah, I like Josh Allen. So
I like him too, and he fits great in Buffalo. But with Big Ben, I think, he said after he drafted him, he goes, I'm playing another 2 to 3 years. So I'm saying 2. He's gonna play 2.
I mean, he says that, but every year he comes back and he takes a beating. He gets his ass beat just because of the way he plays. His style is he holds on to the ball.
Yeah.
He moves around. He lets guys improvise. It's very Aaron Rodgers-esque without the athleticism where they run the route and then it becomes sandlot football. And that's how they make a lot of plays. The offensive lines there are either unbelievably good or the refs just look the other way because there's no way they don't hold all the time. I digress.
Hey, man,
I digress.
I know you don't like Pittsburgh. It's all right, but they have Pro Bowl. They have a Pro Bowl line, man. This is all those years of me staying up till 11 o'clock at night.
All right, but Colt,
those 28th overall picks, and they're getting a lineman every single time.
Colton, they have history. They have history on their side, and so do the Green Bay Packers. So the refs look the other way for these historical teams, and that's not, they earned that right. They did. They earned the right, but you can't sit there and say, isn't it nauseating when you watch Russell Wilson run around for a half an hour and you look at it and go, how is nobody holding when they are?
Yeah.
Big Ben does the same shit. He holds the ball for at least 5 to 7 seconds every single throw. He can do a 3-step drop, and he'll still hold it for 5 seconds. It's how it is.
At this point, I'll take lucky rather than good, so I really don't care. I know you guys say we're lucky, Steelers are lucky. I'll take lucky rather than good. So
you guys haven't been really good for a while, so luck is all you've had. But Big Ben, you got to be scary because every year he takes the beating, and every year he rethinks his professional career. That's what happens.
I honestly think he's going to give it 2 good years, and he's going to call it quits. And I'm just hoping Mason Rudolph learns the system by then, and they got their kid. So I'm just hoping Mason Rudolph works out. Josh Dobbs is not the guy. He's not going to be the next franchise quarterback. I think Rudolph, or they got to play by ear and see what,
So if the Steelers start off rocky, is there going to be clamoring for Rudolph to come in?
I think Ben's not going to struggle. It's not Eli. They have a good old line around Ben. They still have good talent around Ben. So
they're getting old.
Ben's going to be fine.
They're getting old.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ben hasn't shown any signs of getting old. The only thing he did last year was struggle a little bit on the road. So
that's true. All right, so you think Ben's going to give you 2 more years? Okay, Brown.
I think Ben's 2 more
Antonio
years,
Brown is a great player, but he showed a little divisiveness last year. He pushed back against Tomlin. Wide receivers are divas, so that could disrupt a little. And there is always a question. Le'Veon Bell is an unbelievable player, but running backs hit a cliff and fall quickly. So you have to be a little concerned.
This could be his last year as a Steeler, man. I was hoping for an early birthday gift and give him an extension here, but
they don't do that. They barely give guys extensions.
It's July 16th is the extension time, so it's Monday.
I don't think it's going to happen.
So.
I really don't think it's going to happen.
So well, they flirted with it because Bell came out. I think they talked to Bell like a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and he said they're pretty close to a deal. Clearly not, because you would think the NFL would be all over, like, all right, deal's heating up. It should be any day now, and you haven't heard anything. So I think this is Bell's last year. So hopefully Pittsburgh can win it here this year because Bell's going to be gone, man. Pittsburgh is not giving him $14.5 million for a running back. I know he's not just a running back. I know he's not, but he needs to understand Pittsburgh can't give him wide receiver-like money.
All right, but here's the thing, though.
Guys have to pay. They have to pay other guys.
But I agree, and you know what? He is just a running back. He's very good now, but it's a fact that when they hit 30, they're not the same guys right now. It just doesn't happen. So, yeah, you know what? You're great and you're talented now. But your contract's going to put you well over 30, that big contract you want. And
the thing is,
people are insane to pay him if they
contracts. Pittsburgh is giving him good contracts. They've offered him good contracts. It's not like they're offering him $10 million a year. They've offered him last year, I think $13.5 last year, or 13, one of the two per year, and he said no. Like, the best running back right now is $8.5 million with Freeman. Like, come on, Bell. You've been suspended for marijuana. You get caught again, you're gone a whole year.
Yeah,
you're gone a whole year. You can't stay healthy. You've been hurt in the knee. Like,
exactly.
Help the team out.
So
it's
how
not
good?
Like they're offering him crap.
So you look at this. He has a knee injury, and his style is very violent. He's a very good receiver, but that type of stuff can really deter a guy. So out of the 3 guys, Big Ben's going to play at least maybe 2 more years. He still always threatens retirement, but at least 2 more. Brown is kind of a diva. If Ben's not looking for him and he throws to Juju a little bit too much, you're going to hear shit. It's going to happen. Again. And Bell, we don't know if he's going to be at the same exact level because he has knee injuries.
I think he's going to be at a high level. If he could stay, it was all talk. Can he stay healthy? He stayed healthy last year.
He did.
Thing is, can he stay healthy this year? And not going to lie, he's looking out for a payday because he knows that Pittsburgh's not going to give it to him this summer because they're not going to franchise tag him again. So it's either a contract extension or he's gone. So someone else is going to give him that money. So he's going to look to have a great year. So for someone to say, all right, I have to pay this guy, like I have to. So
yeah, you got to hope. So your offense, it has questions. It's not as sure as it once was with those 3. There's definitely some questions about them.
It's all about Ben. Is Ben going to decline, which I don't see happening because he still has he's still got AB. He still has one of the best running backs in football.
But it happens quick, Cole.
The O-line.
It happens overnight. It happens overnight when these quarterbacks, any of these football players, if they lose a step, it happens.
It can, though. It can happen.
Yeah.
Ben hasn't shown. But the thing is, it's not like Ben has shown signs of it going that way. Where, no offense, Eli Manning has shown it could happen.
Well, Ben also
struggled last year.
Ben also has the fact
the
he has on his side that he's not athletic at all, and he never has been, and he's always been fat. So he's not a guy that needs to stay in shape to be great. But it's true. There's certain guys that they need to stay in shape to do their ability. Big Ben is a chubby, fat dude that can throw the ball. He's basically Jared Lorenzen that actually made it in the league. And he's super tall.
You're funny, man. Kid was in good shape when he was younger, man. Come on.
He's always been chubby. Are you kidding me? He came into the league with a chubby face.
Yeah, but you got to also look when he was younger. He wasn't fat, dude. He was pretty built.
Colton, when he stands next to his lineman, you can't tell who's the quarterback.
But now you can't. He's a little bigger now. But hey, man, that's my quarterback. So
don't go to Al Owens on me.
I'll go to war with Big Ben, baby.
So my big question mark for you is because the offense, as long as they're there and they're together, they're going to produce.
I'm very intrigued with their second-round pick because I think the kid from what was the kid from LSU? Was that DJ Clark? Who's that wide receiver from LSU? Is that DJ Clark?
I think it might be. I forget his name. I gotta say I don't really pay attention to LSU very much because screw the SEC.
Nah, I think it was him. But Pittsburgh took James Washington, a wide receiver, in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So Pittsburgh's been good at picking wideouts. So clearly Juju was a steal last year in the second round. He's a very good wide receiver. Clearly compared to all the first-round wide receivers that won last year, geez Louise, other than Cooper Kupp, the rest of the wide receivers in the first round were awful.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Shout out to my boy Joey Hack with Cooper Kupp, yeah, I think he's going to be interesting. Which is going to be, if Mason Rudolph works out, that was his number one guy at Oklahoma State was James Washington. So
that could be interesting. It really could. Now, main question mark for you, I think, and it's for everyone. Obviously, the loss of Ryan Shazier hurt in more ways than just football. It hurt the NFL in general because seeing a guy go down like that, nobody wants that. He's on the road to recovery. He's doing miraculous things, which is great, but we're still sticking with the football side of the conversation. Losing Shazier obviously hurt that defense last year. They definitely look a lot more lost.
They killed him because he's a vocal point, man. He talks, he flies all over the field. He's smart. He's not just a guy out there that's fast. He's so smart on the field, man. That's what it killed him. He's the vocal point of that defense.
Now,
who allows Vince Williams to make plays?
Who's taking that mantle, if there is anyone that does it? And are you nervous that even if someone does, they're not going to be up to the level of shit? Because let's be honest, that Steelers defense was not a typical Steelers defense. They weren't great. Shazier made them a good unit because he kept everyone in place. He made the right calls. He made the right checks. Are you confident that there's another guy that can do the things that Shazier does? Because if not, you guys are just going to have to outscore teams.
Well, they definitely got better defensively. I think their corners are going to only get better. I think Artie Burns is going to have another good year. Because he's working every day with the best wideout in football, in Antonio Brown.
One of the best. Don't say the best.
No, the best. I usually say Julio. You can
Julio or ODB. I don't care what anyone says. Odell Beckham Jr. is still in there.
You're crazy. You're nuts. Stop. No, thank you. Nope. He's not in the top five. You said that for another day.
Not top five. They're 1A, 1B, 1C. It's not.
Hopkins is better than Odell.
Wow, Hopkins. No way.
Yes, sir. Figure Hopkins has had scrubs throwing to him.
He has, but he's not as good as Odell. The only other guy that you can mention. Only other guy you could mention in the conversation with those three is a healthy Josh Gordon, who might be better than all of them, if he's healthy.
No, he's definitely better than Odell. I'll fight you on that.
You will lose. You might be the only person that's not a fan of the Eagles, Redskins, or Cowboys that say that Odell isn't great and one of the best, top three, if not best.
He's not a top three. He's not top three.
Oh, my God. Hopkins is not better than him.
He is better than him. Figure Hopkins is more consistent. Look who's throwing in the football.
Look who's throwing Odell Beckham the football. Eli Manning is not a consistent quarterback.
Eli Manning's also a two-time Super Bowl champ.
He is on defense. Alex, he was a good thrower, but the defense is one of those. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
He's let his team down the field late in games against Tom
Just like
Brady.
Big Ben's first Super Bowl had nothing to do with Big Ben. Nothing.
I'm okay with that, man. He did what he had to do.
He did.
Figure what's his name's got a Super Bowl.
Trent Dilfer.
Dilfer. Dilfer has a Super Bowl. So, and I figured that last Super Bowl Peyton won. God Almighty, could he do anything to lose that game? Denver's defense won that game. So, hey, and then you saw Big Ben. He won his Super Bowl against the Cardinals.
I'm still baffled by the disrespect of Odell Beckham Jr. And
I'm not saying he's not a good wide receiver. If he has a good year this year and he gives me some consistency and stays healthy, let
me look up his numbers, because last year was the first year he was hurt. But I'm pretty sure.
I understand that. I'm not saying he's not good.
He's on track to be the best wide receiver statistically in the history of football. You understand that, right?
Business is always booming. Don't forget that, Alex.
What did you say?
Business is always booming, Alex.
Right,
Don't forget that.
But let's look. His first 3 seasons, he was not healthy last year. He's had 1,300 yards, 1,450 yards, and 1,367 yards with 91 receptions, 96 receptions, and 101 receptions. He had how many receiving touchdowns? I can't see because I'm baffled by you saying this dumb shit.
Yo, also by the way,
12, 13, and 10. 12, 13, and 10.
I guess you forgot the postseason when he decided to drop footballs against Green Bay in the postseason, where AB was making plays against Jacksonville.
Okay,
AB shows up in the postseason, so
we're going to criticize him for one postseason only.
I'm just saying, all the drama he causes off the field, and he ends up choking in the postseason.
Let him get back to the postseason. And what drama does he took dudes on a trip on a boat, which isn't a big deal.
No, drama on the field. Are you serious? My man's taking his helmet off. He's running to the kicking net. That is drama.
So you told me that, but you told me, okay, you can't talk about drama when your own guy was a drama queen all last year.
No, just once, Alex, when he threw the bottle of Gatorade. That's the only thing you saw from AB on the sideline.
And then he bitched the other few weeks that he wasn't getting the ball enough. That's not a rift?
Hey, it's not as bad as Odell. He's a wide receiver. We both said it. They're going to clap for the football, especially when you're top tier. You want the ball in their hands.
Okay, but you can't argue because Odell Beckham's yards per reception were 14.3, 15.1, and 13.5 in his first 3 years. Colton,
I don't disagree. He's a slant. He's as fast as holy heck, and he's done. There goes Odell.
Saying he's not top 3 is insanity.
He's not top 3. He's not top 3. I'll go to war on that one. We're going to see this year. If he has a bounce back year, then he can end up in that conversation.
And just so you know, Antonio Brown in all of his years has only had better yards per reception numbers than Odell twice. And he's played twice as long.
I understand that, Alex. He's more consistent, though. He's more consistent.
He's had a better quarterback.
Per year. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right, Jonathan, you heard it there first from Alex. Alex hates Pittsburgh. Big Ben's the best quarterback in that draft. I'll go to war with anybody.
We'll put this here. All right, so hold on.
Eli.
In 8 seasons, Antonio Brown has 59 touchdowns. In 3 full seasons and 1 partial, Odell Beckham has 38.
Hey, I don't disagree with the touchdown-wise. AB doesn't have as many because they pulled it up. They were comparing him with Jerry Rice the other day. Jerry Rice.
There's no comparisons.
Jerry Rice. With catches and receiving yards-wise, it was just a touchdown. The touchdown numbers.
Odell Beckham Jr. is much closer to Jerry Rice than Antonio Brown.
Well, before the age of 30, AB they're pretty there. They're pretty close, closer than you would think, other than the receiving touchdowns. That's where his numbers completely off from Jerry Rice's.
Man, you're gonna sit there and just.
I
like Odell Beckham Jr. I never go to bat for him like this because I think he's a baby. I agree with you. He's a baby. But to call him
I'm not saying he's not talented. He's not. I just don't think he's top 5 right now.
But to not call him
You got to show me consistently. Consistency ain't in the postseason, Alex. Like, you're gonna be the greatest regular season quarterback. Congratulations. Let me know. Exact. Tony Romo. Right there's my point. Sorry, God, though. Tony Romo was a decent quarterback. He did not win.
Tony Romo was a great quarterback.
Didn't win squat, Alex. She didn't make it to an NFC championship, Alex.
But you're only going to blame the quarterback for that? Where was the rest of his team? They let him down, too.
I'm just saying, Alex.
Oh, man, it's the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid that you're doing. I just can't believe I'm baffled by you. This has erased a good podcast of sports knowledge.
Hey, man, sports opinions.
It is sports opinions, and there are wrong opinions.
People don't like it, but that's just how I feel. Antonio Brown has shown consistency. Because I went to war. I said Julio Jones was better than AD.
And he still is. He still is.
Hey, consistency-wise, it's AD. So,
AD
consistently shows up. So,
like I said, I think that they're all 1A, 1B, 1C. I put them all equal footing right now. The hate for Odell, it's surprising. Wow. But
I honestly,
the hate,
to be honest with you, when they were
hate.
talking about trading Odell, I said trade him, get some assets for him.
No way.
My opinion.
You don't trade generational talents. Period. I don't don't trade him.
We're gonna see. We're gonna find out this year. If he has a bounce back year, we're gonna find out.
I hope Josh Gordon in 2 games against you has over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That is my prayer.
Hey, I saw him catch a touchdown last year in Pittsburgh.
He's a monster. He looked, that was him at 70% basically last year, and he looked like old Josh Gordon. He gains that step back. He's the best wide receiver in football, period. Josh Gordon, a talented, healthy, 100% Josh Gordon is the best wide receiver in football, and people forget how good he is. He is the best.
Yeah, because he keeps getting suspended. So my man, Thompson Payne keeps getting suspended. So.
But he's good right now. So if he stays good, that's all that matters.
Figure he's got Landry on the other side and Coleman there, so they have a very good receiving core. So
they do. All right. So with that spirited ending, which was fantastic, that will wrap up this episode of the Sports Opinions Podcast. Colton, thank you very much for coming on, even though you ruined it at the end.
I don't know. Hey, I'm just saying, went to war on that. Hey, if
I like it.
Wrong, we have season tickets for the Giants. So, I mean, if Odell has a great season and the Giants are in the postseason this year, I'll be going to a Giants game in the postseason. So.
Oh, yeah. So, just so everyone knows, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this a little low because Colton wants to keep it a secret. He's actually a Giants fan.
Because it's crazy. If you saw me on TV at the games, I'm wearing Steelers stuff, so that's all right, though.
Actually a Giants fan.
Stuff.
So
it's all right. We can FaceTime my room right now. It's all black and yellow, boy.
But Colton, again, thank you for coming on. Where can the people find you on social media?
On Twitter, at The Real Sea-Wagon, and on Instagram, at Sea-Wagon, and Snapchat, at Steel Colt.
And again, Sports Opinions, I'm Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter at @A_Cuesta30. You can find Sports Opinions on the Twitter at SportsOpinion30. You can search for us on Facebook on the Sports Opinions Podcast. Just search for it. Go like that page, follow it, get notifications, get all the episodes there. Or you can subscribe and like on either Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and YouTube. So again, Colt, thank you very much for coming on. This was a blast, man.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a good time.
Absolutely. And again, I want to thank everyone for listening. I really appreciate it. Everyone, have a good one.